There are a lot of people out there who won't invest in nicotine based businesses for moral reasons, partly because of the health problems associated with the products, partly because of the addictive nature and the fact that these products may attract a younger audience. However, I am not one of those people. I personally happily invest in stocks like Altria Group, for example, and it's been good to me so far in 2024. Year to date, the stock price has appreciated by 11.5%. Not necessarily an outstanding return, not a 10x, but when you combine that with my yield on cost of roughly 9.5%, my total return looks like it's going to be quite decent this year if this continues. One of the best moves they've been making recently was the decision to sell off a large portion of their Anheuser-Busch InBev stock in order to do buybacks of their own shares. As you saw, Altria Group's PE is quite low, whereas Anheuser-Busch has a PE that is pretty high, near 26 price to earnings, compared to Altria Group, whose PE is below 10 and frankly I think is a better business today than Anheuser-Busch. Anheuser-Busch seems not to be able to do anything right. It's gone nowhere in the last year, pays a pipsqueak of a dividend, has a stretched valuation, and has completely mangled their brand. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, let me give you a little refresher. Remember this? Yeah, I know. I wish I could forget too, but yeah, if you've been holding any exposure to Bud stock, this has to have been one of the most frustrating blunders in corporate history. Marketing gone wrong. Of course, Altria has made plenty of their own blunders, like their investment in JUUL, which turned into a huge fiasco and a large multi billion dollar write off, though they've since sort of started to figure out how to rectify that. They, of course, recently purchased an outright stake and bought out entirely a different vaping product after divesting JUUL. They bought Enjoy for a fraction of what they paid for a mere 35% of JUUL, which gives them total control over the distribution and the marketing and every other aspect of the business, and it's a fully owned subsidiary. I think that's a much better way to go about it. This platform also has the important FDA approval, which other platforms lack. And this, along with the selling off of their Bud stock in order to repurchase shares, I think are wise uses of their capital and show me that they're maybe learning. Let's face it, it's felt pretty weird, if not outright bad, being an Altria shareholder for a lot of the last few years. While they have continued to steadily increase their dividend, the share price appreciation hasn't followed along with it. And management has made some certainly questionable calls, like we mentioned before. So I can't help but be a little bit optimistic at the run up so far in 2024, as well as what seem like better overall decisions as far as capital allocation by management. Analysts are pretty middle of the road on this, where the high and the low pretty much are the high points and low points it's reached as far as its trading range over that period of the last few years. So nobody really views this as being either a zero or a major breakout as far as I can tell. There is a fairly reasoned argument that one could make that perhaps Altria is worth high 50s to maybe low 60s, especially if, for example, Enjoy becomes accretive to their free cash flow as they project it will, and if they can continue to grow other smokeless brands while maintaining a certain degree of pricing power in their combustibles segment. Interestingly, when the government cracks down on the flavored vapes and other such things, what happens is the people that use those that they're, I guess trying to discourage often end up switching over to the combustible option in order to get their fix. Weirdly enough, it seems as though the government can't meddle away people's behavior or regulate it into whatever they want it to be, and that people's nicotine habits are going to be sticky regardless of what the government has to say about it. And honestly, I believe the nicotine products without the cancer causing tobacco are probably less harm overall. And look, whether it's vaping like Enjoy or JUUL, or pouches like On or Zins, I'm not saying that it's healthy or anything, but I think most people have pretty much concluded that it's probably less harm than actually busting out a pack of Marlboros. But that's just my opinion. Comment below if you own Altria Group, or let me know if you think a different tobacco stock, or nicotine stock as I like to call them, is better. I also have BTI, as you may have noticed from previous videos. Make sure you like the video also for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. Catch me every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Cashflow Kings Live, although we're doing it Friday this week. Discord, link in the description, etc., etc. Become a member, support the channel, all that. Later.